Hello, everyone. My name is David Hart, the program director here at CitizenEU. I'm also an immigration lawyer for more than 30 years. We're going to start in a couple of minutes. This is an English language webinar related to the Spanish digital nomad visa. We do have a Q&A. If you look at the menu on the bottom, you will, during the webinar, which is about 30 minutes or so, once we get started, you will be able to submit questions in writing. We will try and get to as many as possible and answer them during the course of the next half hour or 40 minutes. We're going to try and schedule this webinar a little earlier in the day. I realize for people in Asia, it's already about 10 o'clock at night. And so we're going to try and schedule the next ones after next week would be 10 o'clock in the morning for us. So it'll be 8 o'clock, 7, 8, or 9 o'clock in Asia, where most of our attendees are from. So just one more minute or two, and we'll get started. So please stand by. Thank you. Okay, welcome back. Thank you for taking the time to participate. My name is David Hart. Again, I'm the program director here at CitizenEU, and also I'm an immigration lawyer for more than 30 years, 32 years and counting. CitizenEU is a digital platform that we manage, which is intended to help people get to the European Union through the Spanish digital nomad visa. So we're going to spend some time in the next few minutes talking about, number one, what is the Spanish digital nomad visa? And then number two, what are the requirements, how to satisfy those requirements, and then how to apply. And then at the very end, we'll discuss how we represent people who are interested in this first step, taking this first step towards the European Union, towards Spain. The digital nomad visa is a residency visa for Spain. The law was amended in late 2022 and became effective in the middle of 2023, so less than a year ago. So it's brand new, relatively speaking. The digital nomad visa is for remote workers. So we call them teleworkers or remote workers or digital nomads, which has become very popular following COVID, following the pandemic or during the pandemic. Many people, companies and employees arranged so that their employees could stay home and stay safe and healthy. And this was a worldwide phenomenon that has continued as the COVID and the pandemic has receded. So countries like Spain, which will have a negative birth rate, they say in the next 10 years, and many countries in Europe are facing the same challenges in terms of their populations, are looking for ways to attract immigrants, educated, talented immigrants who to participate as new members of the community, new members of the country. And so Spain specifically has got this streamlined process for those people who qualify with very simple, relatively simple requirements. So I'll go through each and then we'll discuss how to actually qualify, which obviously might mean some more analysis between ourselves, meaning us as the legal experts and yourself as a possible applicant. So there's three basic requirements. One, you must be a remote worker. You must show that you're a remote worker, but that doesn't take much. You must show that you work for a company or you work as a freelance worker with multiple clients and you get paid for that work. So you either get a salary or you get some sort of fees, consulting fees, something along those lines. And you have to show that it's deposited into your personal bank account. If you have an employment contract, you can add that, and it has to be at least the last 3 months. So if you literally just started working now, let's say today or February of 2024, you would qualify for this after 3 months. So February, March, and April, you could actually file in May. But you have to attach proof of the ongoing nature of that employment going forward. So it's 3 months looking backwards, and then it continues. So if you had a 3-month contract, that probably won't satisfy the Spanish authorities who are going to review your application, usually at the Spanish consulate in the country where you are applying from, which is obviously where you live or where you were born. So that's the first requirement, 3 months at least of work or telework or remote work. 2, you must show that you either have a full university degree, which is generally speaking a 4-year degree from a recognized university in your wherever you studied in your country of origin, for example. But if it's somewhere else, if you went to study and did your university studies in another country, then obviously with your diploma or your transcripts, you would prove, and you would prove that including that it's a recognized, authorized university. If you do not have a full university degree or diploma, you must then prove that you have at least 3 years of relevant work experience. So the important words there are 3 years and relevant. Relevant work experience, it can come from more than one previous employer, but you have to prove it with job letters or employment contracts or tax returns showing you received the income from a specific employer. It could be a combination of all those things, but it has to cover 36 months. It could be separate. You could have 3 jobs with 3 separate companies over the last years, and with proof of employment for 1 year for each of those 3. Adding those up, you have the 3 years. The relevancy of the work has to be relevant to the remote work that you're presenting now to obtain your nomad visa. So if you're, let's say, currently a digital media consultant and you have several clients as a freelancer, but you have no university degree, you're going to have to show that you have at least 3 years of work experience in that area. So if it's not by degree, now if your degree was in biology and you're a digital media, it doesn't matter. You could still use that degree to qualify. But it's the relevant work experience that you would need to prove relevancy to the current work that you're presenting to show that you qualify for the digital nomad visa. So that must be your work experience. Those 3 years has to be relevant. The third requirement, the main requirement, is you must show a minimum income over, let's say, the past year. So the annual income is determined by the Spanish government every January. Essentially speaking, every new year, the Spanish government, I believe it's the Department of Labor, issues what's called the SMI, which means there's words in Spanish, but it's essentially the minimum salary of a Spanish worker in Spain. And for the digital nomad visa, it must be double that, so 200%. The numbers come to 32,000. If you're a single applicant, it comes to the equivalent of 32,000 euro per year. So you have to prove, if that's what you're going to be using, you have to prove that your income, let's say from 2023 to the date you apply, so February 1, but let's just say all of 2023, from January to December, that your income from the work that you've done over the past year equals or exceeds the equivalent of 32,000 euro. That is if you're one person. Now, if you're a larger family, if you're two people, you, hold on a second. Okay, so I'm just looking at this question from Shazad Rai. What is the required education, or is there any other requirement for getting this visa? So yes, I answered that, and it's basically the university degree. And if you don't have that full university degree and you can prove it with your diploma, then it's 3 years of relevant work experience. So there. So let me continue with what I was saying about the income. So if you're more than one person, so let's say you're two people, let's say husband and wife, and the wife is the applicant and the husband is joining. You can do that. You can add your children if you have children, minor children up to 18. And by the way, and I'll talk about this in a minute, you can also add adult children from 18 to 26. You can even add in-laws. But the more people you add, the higher amount of income and savings that you're going to have to show. So just as an example, one person is 32,000. One person is 32,000 euro, the equivalent. And if you go up to two, it's 44,000. And if you go up to three, it's 48,000. And then after that, for every person, you add 4,000 euro per year that you have to show. Now, if you don't have that income to cover, let's say you're a single person and you have to show 32,000, and let's say you have income of 25,000, so you're short 7,000, you can qualify by showing that you have savings in your personal bank account to make up the difference. You cannot just rely on savings and no income. You won't qualify for this visa, but you can combine the two if your income is short. Okay, Abdul Ahmed, if the income was in crypto, can that also be shown? I'm not sure about that. That's a very good question. We'd have to see how you prove the crypto, because what I would say is, let's say you provide services to a company and they pay you in crypto, you're still going to have invoices. And if you can match up the invoices if you match up the invoice to the crypto payments into your crypto wallet, then I would say probably yes. Now, if you're earning money, let's say you have bought Bitcoin or other kinds of crypto money, and you're trading and you're making money on the increase in value, I suppose you'd have to show how you started that crypto account. So going back to how you funded it with fiat money, meaning real dollars or real money, and then how it grew. So that is something that we'd have to look in real terms how you would plan to prove it. Okay, Mohammed Zishan Khan, what does actually Citizen EU mean? So Citizen EU, it means it's the name of our company, and it's Citizen E means European, U means Union. European Union is, generally speaking, all of the European countries, Spain included, that makes up the European Union. So once you become a citizen, first of all, once you become a nomad visa in Spain, you can certainly visit as a tourist any of the other Schengen countries that are called, or European Union countries. And once you become a resident, you can work full-time, not even as a remote worker. That's going to take 5 years. And obviously, in 10 years, if you become a citizen, then you can then live in any of the Schengen countries. So France, Germany, Italy, Austria, etc. So those are the three main requirements, and you're going to have to document that to our satisfaction, or at least explain to us how you plan to. And the reason I say this is because we're trying in these forums. Okay, sorry, 5 years is full residency in Spain, and then 5 more years. At 10 years, you can have the option of becoming a citizen. I will get to the questions. Let me continue, and then I will get to as many questions as possible. So the idea is to be able to document those three main requirements. You must also, if you want to bring adult children, meaning over 18 to about 26, or even your in-laws, you must be able to document that those people, those kinds of people, so adult children and your in-laws, are economically dependent on you as the main applicant. So you pay their rent, or you pay for adult kids, you pay their university, or you pay their credit cards, or you pay their insurance. But you have to show that they're economically dependent on you for them to be able to be included. You also need medical insurance that covers your stay for the first year at least, and then renewed. But you have to have a full year's coverage with a certificate of insurance. If you sign up with us that we represent you, we will send you the comprehensive instruction manual. There's a section in there with a link to the insurance company in Spain that will give you a quote. So you click on it, you insert how many people, I think dates of births, and then it'll give you a quote how much it costs. Approximately for one single person, it's about 800 euro a year. So if you're 2 or 3, it's probably going to be closer to 1,500 euro. And then, of course, you have to renew it. You will not be able to use the Spanish medical system until you're a full permanent resident. So that means in the 5th year of your digital nomad visa. Okay, so before I get to how we represent you, let me just try and answer some more of the questions. So Shazad Rai said, what is the required education, or is there any other requirement? I think I answered that. It's a required education is a bachelor's degree, university degree. And if you don't have a full university degree, then the other way to qualify is 3 years of relevant work experience. We covered that. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Samir Na, is it possible a PhD scholar of media studies can get immigration? Well, we're talking about the digital nomad visa for Spain. So I assume that's what you mean by immigration. The answer is yes, because PhD is higher than a standard bachelor's degree, which is the university degree with about 4 years of study. So the answer would be yes. Dr. Samim, the money or income should be saving account or received through the year. I mean, we just need to show the salary slips from working companies, or we should have the cash in the account. No, if you've been earning and you show over the course of, let's say, all of 2023, you show that you've been earning a salary from whatever company or companies or clients, the fact that you get that money on a monthly basis and then you use it is perfectly understandable and perfectly normal. If your savings, if let's say you're applying by yourself, doctor, and it's the equivalent of 32,000, and let's say your earnings are 25,000, as I said before, if you have 7,000 in savings in your savings account, or the equivalent of 7,000 between your earnings of 25 and 7, that equals 32, you then qualified. Marianne Smith, I would hope to travel around during residency. Would there be a requirement of number of months to stay in Spain per year, or general travel restrictions? Okay, there's 2 parts to this question. One, once you are a digital nomad in Spain, you can travel as a tourist to other European Union countries. You can go to France for up to 90 days. So the tourist segment of traveling around is 90 days. Now, if you want to qualify for citizenship, at least starting in the 2nd or 3rd or 4th year, you're going to need to spend 183 days in Spain, because to then convert into full residency and then residency into citizenship, you need to show 183 days. So it's about 6 months out of the year in Spain. If otherwise, you can be traveling in the European Union or go back to your country of origin, wherever that is. Yes, this Abdullah Ahmed, very good question. The spouse who's accompanying the main applicant upon arrival, and this includes even adult children or in-laws, will get a full work permit to work in Spain. The main applicant, who's the digital nomad, must continue to work as a digital nomad or a remote worker from Spain. Because remember, your first visa is for 1 year. It'll have to be extended, and you need to qualify for the extension as well. Okay, let's see here. Masihula Karimi. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. I'm working with one of the Portuguese companies as software developer for the past years, and I'm getting 2,000 euro per month. And I have a signed contract. Will that work? 2,000 is 24? No, you're going to need to show some savings. So 2,000 times 12 is 24,000. You need to show some savings to reach the 32. So you're missing 10,000 euro. You need to show savings or accumulate some savings, and then you can apply. And by the way, I forgot to mention this, but if you're, let's say you're in a case like yours, the company that you will work for, let's say in this case the Portuguese company, they will have to sign a letter to include in your application that they agree to allow you to continue to work as a remote worker from Spain. Okay, okay, Mohammed Zishan Khan, how am I supposed to qualify for Spanish nomad visa as a student, as a businessman? Well, as a businessman, you must show income and savings if you need it to reach the threshold. If you're a single applicant, it was 32,000. We already explained that. As a student, if you don't have income, then you won't qualify as a student. If you're a student and your parents qualify, you might qualify just as being the son or daughter, even if you're over 20, even if you're over 18. But remember, if you're over 18, and it's generally speaking maximum up to 26 years, that student, if the parent, the mother or father qualifies, they're going to have to show that the student, their son or daughter, is economically dependent on them for them to be able to be included. Shazad Rai, can you please tell us what is the documents that we require for this visa? Meanwhile, I've completed my BS, BS electrical engineering. So what is the main documents for applying? Well, I've been explaining that, but you have to prove, number one, that you have a university degree. So your diploma for your bachelor's degree, your BS in electrical engineering, proof that you're doing remote work or telework for at least the last 3 months, meaning were you paid? Do you have an employment contract? Do you have a letter? It has to be at least 3 months. And then, of course, the amount of money that you earn, if you're, let's say, applying, Shazad, you're applying by yourself, let's say no wife, no kids, you have to show that your earnings are at least for the past year at the level of the equivalent of 32,000 euro. And if it's not at 32,000 euro, then you have to show that you have savings to make up the difference. So let's say if you're earning 25,000 euro, as I've said before, your savings would have to be 7,000 euro, meaning 25,000 in income plus 7,000 in saving is 32, you qualify. Sixto Lopez, if you're an expat worker of a US company that works for time to time in projects abroad, other country, you still can apply. For instance, my last project was over in 2022, but I'm going to be deployed next month in North Africa. Okay, Sixto, so that's an interesting question. So remember, the first thing you have to do is show when you apply, that your past 3 months of remote work. So if you don't have the remote work now, next month you're deployed to work remotely in North Africa for I guess for a US company. You'd have to do that for 3 months, and then you can apply with the 3 months and the 3 months ongoing, I'm assuming. Kartik Patel, hi, I'm doing wealth management. Can my client set up company in Spain to park global wealth? Would it be tax free? That's a very interesting question. So we were just yesterday in a Zoom with our tax experts from Barcelona, and we are going to be preparing how Spain is interested in getting companies to set themselves up, either subsidiaries or brand new companies from foreign investors to set themselves up in Spain. It's not a zero tax, it's not tax free, but it's taxed on net income of that company. Net income, so revenue, you're taxed for the first 2 years at 15%, as opposed to, I believe it's 37%. So there are some initial advantages to attract. Kartik, if you reach out to me and remind me, you can email us at info@CitizenEU.com, or you can email me at dhart@CitizenEU.com. Susie, if you can put that up on the screen, or if there's a way to do that. And also, Susie, if you can put up the fact sheet now so people can see it. The fact sheet, just so and I'll continue to answer as many questions as I can. The fact sheet is basically like an illustration of the requirements in English. You should have received this when you signed up, when you submitted your eligibility form. And also, we have a poll here asking, out of all of you who are attending, how many of you have submitted the eligibility form, because you're going to need to do that. So Shazad Rai, thanks for your response. Now, would you please tell us where we can apply for like which website? So Shazad, I guess I'll use your question to say, how do we work? How do we represent you? If you decide you want to apply with us, you would hire us as your legal representatives. In all cases, we start with a comprehensive instruction manual that has a checklist of documents, that has the step-by-steps based on where you are going to be applying from. So, for example, if you're from Pakistan, you would apply to the Spanish consulate in Islamabad. By the way, if you're from Afghanistan, you don't apply in Afghanistan. That's not possible. You must apply directly in Islamabad in Pakistan, just as an example. So we will represent you when you sign up with us. You get the instruction manual, and the most cost-effective way of doing this, which is under 2,000 euro for our representation, we include 3 meetings, private meetings with the lawyers, with myself, for example, to go over your application, to go over your documents, to give you the advice you need so that your application, and then we tell you and show you how to apply at the Spanish embassy or the Spanish consulate that has for example, in your country. You just heard me say, just as an example, if you're from Afghanistan and you want to apply, you cannot apply in Afghanistan. You prepare your documents, and then you'll get an appointment in Islamabad, Pakistan, to apply at the Spanish consulate there. Dr. Samim, thank you. Thank you for that. My last question, do doctors are eligible from Afghanistan? Yes. Me and my wife are both medical doctors with 4 years experience in our private setups. Okay, so Dr. Samim, you and your wife, you do qualify as long as you can show that you work in you're using the term private setups. I need to know more about that, and that we would talk about privately in a Zoom between me and you and your wife. But assuming you have the income and how do you receive it, it sounds like you do qualify. For sure you qualify because you have more than a bachelor's, a university degree as doctors, both of you. Is it legal to search for a job within Spain with this visa? Should my current no longer as a layoff? Okay, LN Sri Ram. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Yes, you can do that. But if you're laid off, when you go to renew this visa after 1 year, you might be disqualified because you don't have the job. But you're allowed as a remote worker in Spain to have up to 20% of your income once you're in Spain from local Spanish companies or Spanish clients. Marian, this is a follow-up. The employer signing that it's okay to work in Spain, does it need to be a special? No, it doesn't have to be. I would just do, Marian, just do a letter, the company's letter saying, Marianne Smith is a remote worker for us, and we are okay if she continues to work remotely for us from Spain. And then, the manager, the owner, human resources signs it. Okay, so Kartik, email, I don't know if, Susie, if you can put up the email, but my email is dhart, so DHART, at citizenEU.com. Mohammed Khan Niazai, again, sorry if I mispronounced your name. I have savings of 45K in my bank account in Afghanistan. I have no degree. Also, my payment is online payments, which sent to my, yes. Okay, I've had this situation before. You should qualify, but I would want to understand, and this we wouldn't do here, how does the money that's sent to your friend in Pakistan, how do you get it into your account in Afghanistan? That's going to be key. So we need to review that. Yeah, Upwork. So if you work like on a project by project basis, as long as your client's on Upwork, this is for Abdullah Ahmed, as long as your earnings go directly to you, and as long as they reach the threshold amount that we've talked about, then the answer is yes, you should have no problem. But of course, we'd want to see some examples of that when we get started with you, if you decide to hire us. There's an anonymous attendee. If the documents are completed and I hire you as legal, how much would be the chance of getting visa? Could you please? Okay, so I already talked about our most cost-effective level of representation is under 2,000 euro. It's 1,900 euro. It includes the comprehensive information manual, and it includes 3 private Zooms. And so if you're interested, the chance of getting approved, we wouldn't want to do a case that we feel is problematic, but basically, now that you've attended this, you can make a request for a private Zoom with me, which is between 15 and 20 minutes. Be prepared to explain how you document your earnings at the level of 32,000, the equivalent of 32,000. Do you have a university degree? And do you have the remote work for the past 3 months or more? We would answer you, Abdul Ahmed, I'm explaining the charge right now. Our most cost-effective is you get the comprehensive instruction manual plus 3 private meetings with us to go over your case. And you will get, after this meeting, you will have the option. You can either email us or our office will email you. Are you ready to take the next step? If the answer is yes, we will schedule for you in the next week or so a private meeting with me. What I was trying to say is, in that meeting, which is going to be 15 to 20 minutes and it's free, we want to make sure that you qualify by asking you to tell us, explain, or show us, how do you get paid? Do you have a university degree? In the case of, for example, there was a question about, I am from Afghanistan and my payments go to Pakistan. We want to understand better how that money eventually gets to you. So I think I've answered all the questions. I look forward to all of you. Hopefully, many of you will take us up on our offer to represent you in this very exciting first step, which we call your journey to the European Union, which starts with the Spanish nomad visa. I have 30 plus years experience helping people migrate to new countries, including the European Union. So this is how we work, and it works very well. I hopefully will be able to connect with you privately so final decisions can be made to go ahead. Thank you very much. And we do try and hold these webinars once a week. So please ask, or please look out for the next one. If you have other questions, you're free to join and submit your questions. If you're not ready yet to, sorry, there's one more question. Marianne. Okay, so Marianne Smith, with CitizenEU also be able to navigate preparing taxes. Yes, absolutely. What we do, Marianne, is we have partnered with tax accountants in Barcelona, and we will have those options available to you for all of the filings that you're going to need to do. And if you're applying in spring and prep to move to Spain in December 2024, I think it's a little early, frankly. I mean, I'd love to be able to start helping you right away, but the truth is, I think what you should do, if it's to move in December of this year, so the end of this year, I think what you should do is maybe wait till the end of the summer, September. If you want to have this private Zoom with me, it's free, soon, just so you're well prepared, then we can certainly do that, and then we'd reconnect later. Mohammed Khan Niaza, we don't do Turkey residents, but we have a Turkish lawyer because we have an office in Istanbul. If you would send us an email asking about our Turkish lawyer, we will connect you specifically for that. Thank you very much, everyone. Look forward to continuing this discussion privately or in our next webinar. Thank you so much, and have a good weekend.